Let's bring on Lights Out himself, Shawne Merriman. Shawne.
What's up, brother?
What's up, dude? Hey, by the way, congrats on everything. I haven't had a chance to talk to you since you've been rolling. Lights Out's been rolling, man.
Yeah, man. We're making some moves. I got, some company stuff we got to fix on the back end. When you're growing like that, you got people that want to be involved necessarily shouldn't be there. But it's been great, man. You got ESPN, all Latin America for ESPN. And, for us, that's big, man, because, MMA is such a global sport. But also at the same time, with UFC going over there to Paramount on their big deal, it says a lot about us, right? So yeah, man, I think, we've been making our way. But, yeah, man, it's been great.
You're I feel like you're the one that's always on the move, and I know you are hardworking, consistent. You're whooping ass, and also lights out is kicking ass, man. I'm happy for you. This is kind of a great day to have you on as well, because I wanted to talk about Jesse Minter, but your boy Phillip Rivers, the Schefter just tweeted. Do we have that tweet? There it is. That Schefter tweeted this out that Phillip Rivers is interviewing today with the Buffalo Bills. Man, I mean, I thought he would get a chance to have an interview. I didn't think it would be after he came off the couch, so to speak, or off the coaching field. And, hey, I'm retiring, but I might get back in this thing. Thoughts on this? Yeah,
but, I think who, in my opinion, who really didn't see this coming, right? I mean, Phil's always been that. Even as a teammate, he was always a guy who you felt like was a coach in a locker room. This started back, during his playing days. And the only thing that happened, in my opinion, when he came back to play for the Colts, it put him back in people's face again to show how good he really was, right? And how motivated that he can make people around him, play more, play harder, believe in him. He gave those guys a legitimate shot. Could you imagine a 44-year-old quarterback coming in, just stepping in after being a high school coach and actually give your team a chance to win? That's just, if you look at it that way, it's just crazy to really even think about. But I'll take it a step further, man. This would be one of the best moves that I think the Buffalo Bills can make, and people just overlooking, his relationship he has with Josh Allen alone. That relationship, but there, Josh needed somebody with, to come in with a relationship that he doesn't have to rebuild. The second part is, look what he did to the team. Like when he was making plays for the Colts, look at the sidelines and the rest of the team and how they reacted to him. You got two things out of Phillip: preparation and getting guys being able to play for you. That makes the rest, half of the job is done. He's walking in the door with those two things. Everything else could be figured out. It's going to now come down to who would he hire as a staff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the part, Shawne, where I look at it, because I'm with you. It wasn't a matter of if, Phillip Rivers, if he wants to get back into the NFL to be a coach, it was a when. But typically, look, we know the cycle. It's guys are being groomed. Or they go through, if it's high school, okay, then it's high school to college or college to the NFL, and then they're working their way in. So seeing him get the head coaching opportunity, it's more rare, right now as far as the interview. But I'm with you. I mean, you either got it or you don't. Like, Phillip's got that energy. I know we talked to stories about you and him going at it back in college, being teammates, the passion and his relationship with people. Like, that's the biggest part here when we talk about Jesse Minter, is the people. I got to ask you on a different note real quickly, though. We talked about what was the better job here initially, Buffalo, Baltimore. There was two press conferences by two ownerships recently, very different. Does that impact, you think, at all with any of these coaches after hearing that? Because I got to say, I hadn't heard anything like that, and I know the message wasn't necessary. Like, he wasn't, I would like to believe, it wasn't going, hey, hold on a second. Let me throw this coaching staff and this player who's on my roster under the bench here, or throw him off the bus. But it happened. I mean, does that impact in your mind any coach's decision here moving forward? Do you think that would be an issue?
No, not really, because let me tell you, there's much worse owners behind closed doors, right? I mean, we've seen one little slip up and him talk about a current player. And look at this. you're not going to be everybody's guy walking through the building. Mm-hmm. Like you just, a head coach might like. I'll tell you this, Buddy. AJ Smith was the general manager for the Chargers there, and Buddy Nix, who was the general manager of the Bills, was the second in command with the Chargers. And Buddy Nix is the one who discovered me. Buddy Nix is the one who stood up in a meeting and said, "Hey, we need to look at taking Shawne Merriman out of the University of Maryland." And then it was AJ Smith that pulled the trigger. But I initially, AJ didn't, he didn't find me. I wasn't put on the map by AJ Smith. It was really Buddy Nix. I didn't take offense to that.
Yeah.
I was happy that I was a 12th overall pick in the first round, going to the best city in the country. That's how I was looking at it. So you can look at it a lot of different ways. I just don't think that it was enough for a head coach saying, you know what, I don't want to go and coach or work for an owner that has a slip up during the press conference, because he was just being honest.
Yeah, it was. And I think I tell people I love honesty. I love when people speak their minds. Sometimes, though, we can heal back some of the complete honesty. It can just be, it's a group decision, and sometimes, the wording, the verbiage could have been a little bit better. But you're right. There are circumstances that aren't out in the front where it is way worse elsewhere. And we know places, we're not going to name names. I think we probably could have some similar lists that we've heard some stories, and you probably have some stories. That's the nature of the beast. But let's go to the other side then. All right. Jesse Minter. Minter is coming. He's coming to Baltimore here. It felt like the reunion. I see a lot of the Chargers faithful. We're going, damn, man, you guys got a good one. From you spending time over there, being around the organization, give the people of Baltimore a little bit more insight of Jesse Minter and what person and style he's bringing to Baltimore.
There's nothing but love in that building for Jesse Minter. I mean, just you haven't heard one single bad thing, and I'm talking about from the top down, all the way down to the players. Not one single bad thing about Jesse, because he's a hell of a coach. And I'll take it a step further. I know Steve Bisciotti for a long time. He's his type of guy. He's his type of guy that he wanted in that building because of just what he brings to the table. He brings an attitude, and we know that attitude starts at the top and trickles down into the locker room and everywhere else. Jesse Minter is a Steve Bisciotti type of, hands-on with the players, aggressive style attitude, bring a defensive mindset back to that team, because let's face it, Lamar Jackson is great, and he's, he'll go down as one of the best to do it when he's done. But if you look historically at the Baltimore Ravens, what have they been known for? They've been known to hit you in the mouth. Mm-hmm. And anything else that they've done has kind of been, a cherry on top. It hasn't been until recent that everything's been on Lamar Jackson's shoulders. But historically in that organization, it's been defenses that's made them who they are. And so, I can see why they pulled the trigger with Jesse, because it's a perfect fit. Like, there was nobody else on the market right now that they could have gotten that would have been a better pickup than Jesse.
I think that everything you're saying is accurate. I've been saying from the start here, the Ravens, what's the identity? Play like a Raven. They need to get back to that. They need to punch someone in the mouth. They need to dominate in the trenches. And, we had Dan Orlovsky on earlier a couple weeks ago, and he said that the quote of, when you played the Ravens, they put the fear of God in you on defense.
Yeah.
And that didn't have that feeling this year. They just didn't, for many reasons. So I'm right there with you. Zach was up here pumping up the roof here while you were just singing.
Shawne, you're getting me fired up. When you were talking about that, you were getting me fired up over here. I'm so ready for the Jesse Minter era.
Yeah, hey, go ahead, though, Zach. I know you got a question.
Yeah, Shawne, actually, speaking about a guy who, has now been in Baltimore and went over to L.A. midseason in Odafe Oweh, very clear it felt like Jesse Minter, I'm not going to say unlocked something, because we've seen Oweh put up 10-plus sacks in a season before, but 0 sacks coming into L.A., finishes, if you include the playoff game, with 10.5. What at least did you maybe see from someone like him, and how Jesse Minter is able to get the most out of players?
I play for Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips' philosophy was, whatever you're great at doing, you're going to do 80% of that 80% of the time. Whatever you're not, it's going to be 20. So he knew that I didn't want to drop in coverage, cover running backs out the backfield, or carry a tight end down the seams. So I did that when we had to, but that's not what I was, what the bread and butter was. And so we stuck to that. Jesse has the same type of mentality. He put guys in a position to win. And, I made a comment about what's the linebacker coach there, the Chargers, Zach Orr, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so, I made a comment about I think he's going to make a really good defensive coordinator at some point as well. Mind you, he was mentored by Jesse as well, right? I think at some point he was getting mentored by Jesse. He doesn't call the defense. So, so people are commenting under saying that, he wouldn't make it. Look at the Ravens defense. Well, he's a linebacker coach, right?
Well, Orr was defensive coordinator this past 2 years.
What's that?
Zach Orr was defensive coordinator past 2 years.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, so he came out there, and they're saying that he look at this defense and look what they were doing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. You have to coach what you got available on the field, right?
Yeah.
But like case in point, the Chargers' 2 best offensive tackles went down for the year, and I think they're best 1 or 2 tackles in the league. Then you got Najee Harris that goes down for the season. Then you got just Marion Hampton that goes down for several weeks. I don't care how great of a coach you are. That is hard to overcome. And so there were things going on with the Ravens that they were out of their control. I don't think it was necessarily Zach Orr's. Mm-hmm. You got to cover things up when you don't have personnel there. You look at that front line. I mean, who they got in that front line? You can say, you know what, he's a top this in the NFL, especially as a pass rusher.
The list is short right now. I mean, losing Matabike hurt significantly.
Right.
Matabike's talk about a unit. That dude's a unit, and you're right. It's players. You can have the best coaches. Players are the ones that got to go out there and do the damn thing, right? That's how it is, and coaches will say that. But having the right infrastructure and being able to put your players in positions, that's the coaching part where you can elevate to the next level. That's what I saw out in LA this year, Shawne, with Jesse. And I always like to see the star players to then the veteran players talking about him. Like Derwin James, to wrap this up, I heard Derwin saying, man, I love this guy, the energy, what he brought. And Derwin's a hell of a player, and Derwin was better. Then there's some of the less highly touted names out there that are having success, and they're saying, man, Jesse's giving me the confidence. I think that's the other part of it, giving the players the confidence and putting them in the position to go play freely. So it's been fun to watch overall, Shawne. So I'm going to be seeing you in like 10 days, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
So because we got our next guest about to join us here. Can I ask you a favor then, like on Radio Row? Zach's been saying he's been trying to figure out a proper, fighting technique. So I think like this time, could you just maybe show him a move?
We're getting there.
Yeah, let me see what you got right now, though.
I'm getting higher. Before I was too low. Now we're protecting the face. We're protecting the face.
That sternum is wide open still. I don't know if that's gonna cut it. But look, we're gonna spend some time up there on Radio Row. We're gonna get that fixed.
Let's do it. There it is.
Shawne, where anyone could find you and what you got going on here, at least until I see you in about 10 days.
Yeah, just follow me at Shawne Merriman, and then we'll be announcing some fight dates hopefully soon.
Hell yeah, Shawne. Well, hey, safe travels. Keep doing your thing, and I'll see you out there in San Fran first week of Feb.
You got it, brother. See you then.